Good morning. Today is max patch, so should be at max patch in a few miles, and after that gonna end the day at Standing Bear. Last night got incredibly windy, probably the windiest night on trail. My tent did not blow over, which was good, but it was pretty uncomfortable, and I really didn't get much sleep just because I was kind of bracing at a lot of points, just waiting for my tent to collapse. It was probably like 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. I checked the weather app for a reading, and yeah, it said like 30 with gusts up to like 40, 45, so that's probably what we were feeling yesterday. There was 4 of us there, so we decided to camp close by a shelter, but didn't want to stay at the shelter because that one, and I'll put the name of the one that I'm referencing here, was even more exposed to the wind. It was like directly on a ridge facing the wind, like in the worst spot. So we kind of went down a little bit off the ridge and camped, but it was still windy there, and yeah, rough night. So not really that well rested, but I think I mentioned it in the last video, I am gonna zero tomorrow at Standing Bear. So be my first zero since Parisburg, which I've not been listening to my advice, my own advice, which is to take more zeros, but I am taking one tomorrow, and yeah, I'll wait out some rain, which is gonna come in, and yeah, it seems like it's gonna dump down here over an inch of rain all on Friday, so I will zero at Standing Bear and get out of the rain, and then the Smokies. So here's max patch. It is very windy, some really good views, but I am in like definitely full wind, cold, not really cold weather, but I couldn't wear my hat because it's flying off. So my pack strap keeps hitting me straight in the face. Yeah, probably like 30. This feels like 30 mile an hour winds. Enough to like blow you over a little bit. But you can still walk in it. But yeah, really nice open area. Hopefully I get some better views and less wind. But here's probably the best views I've had on Max Patch. Completely 360. Amazing views up here. Still really windy, but it's kind of fun. Like, it's not dangerous wind, but it's enough to make it interesting. I kind of like it. And in most of the places that I've hiked, like the exposed areas at least, Mount Washington, Franconia Ridge, Moosilauke, Katahdin, I've had amazing weather. Like, perfectly clear, almost no wind, so I think I'm due for some windier conditions, so I'll take it. I like it. So, making my way up the last climb of the day before start going downhill into Standing Bear. I know I mentioned it in the last video, but some weird weather coming through, of course, right before the Smokies, as fate would have it. Rainstorm's coming in. I might get rained on a little bit this afternoon. And then it's gonna rain all day tomorrow. Looks like a complete washout, so gonna zero, stay out of that. And then really cold temps in the Smokies, like down into the teens at elevation. It's like in the 20s in town. So yeah, I'm in for a fun few days. That's for sure. And I did order a sleeping bag liner, which they make a lot of these things. I ordered a Sea to Summit one. I don't remember the exact model, but it's one that gives like 10 to 14 degrees of warmth. And I have a 20-degree bag, so I feel like sleeping bag plus the 10-degree liner plus my clothes, I should be, yeah, pretty safe for being up there, but still going to be cold. I think most people on trail around here have 20-degree bags that I've met. Maybe one person with a 10. So most people are in the same boat, I think, starting with somewhere in like 30 to 40 degree and then switching in the colder weather to a 20 or maybe a 10. That's the usual sleeping setup for most people. Yeah, not much else to update on. It's been windy and kind of a weird weather day. You can tell like a different front is coming in. Like the warm weather, it's going to kind of come to an end tomorrow. And that huge wind last night and even today on Max Patch is, I think, definitely a signal that some of the weather's changing. And yeah, I will be out in it, so kind of looking forward to it. You kind of expect the Smokies to be cold, so that is what I'm going to get. I'm on Snowbird Peak, last big peak, till I go down, and there's an interesting building right up there. You can see it right there. I was doing a little reading on it, and it's a communications unit, mainly for aircraft, which is cool. Someone commented that in the guidebook, so I probably would have just walked past it and just assumed it was, I would have thought it was like some weather building. But yeah, it's like a communications unit, high frequency communications unit for aircraft. I'll give you one more look at it. Yep, there it is right there, top of Snowbird Peak. All right, my end goal is in the distance. You can see Standing Bear Farm close by. I am in for a much needed zero after not having one for some time. And I beat the rain, so I am going to relax, eat a ton of food, which I've been so hungry lately. Probably my peak hiker hunger of the whole trip. So I'm just gonna relax. There's a lot of people here kind of doing the same thing with the weather. All right, so update from Standing Bear Farm. It's been a great time. I love this place. I don't know like why this place has a weird reputation. Just based on the comments in the Far Out app, I was like, is this place good or is it bad? Because it seemed like you either loved it or you hated it, and I firmly love it. It is amazing. There's nothing wrong with it. Like it's a hiker hostel, so I feel like a lot of the comments are people who don't know that it's a hiker hostel, and that's probably where most of the hate comes from. But I love it. Like everything's rustic, it's comfortable. They have showers, bathrooms, resupply to get to Fontana Dam. Uh, let's see, they do dinner, breakfast, frozen pizza. Like, I don't know, what else would you want? This place is great, and it's affordable. It's only $25 a night. Uh, yeah, and the resupply is cheap. Like, I don't know. I have nothing bad to say about this. The actual place. What is interesting is that everyone is like bunching up here because everyone saw the weather for today being like an inch of rain, and now people are like waiting to go through the Smokies. So there's probably going to be a group of like 10 of us going through the Smokies together. And the forecast changed a little bit. It's actually going to rain tomorrow too. So tomorrow it's going to rain in the middle of the day, and then it's going to drop to below freezing at night, which sounds like a recipe for disaster, for hypothermia. But I've hiked in cold weather times, so I'm like well prepared for it, and everyone's talking about it, so I'm not alone. There's kind of a big group, but it is just interesting because people always say like, just wait for the Smokies, like be careful in the Smokies. This is the exact weather you are trying to be careful in the Smokies for. Is cold and wet and sudden drops in temperature, especially around the freezing mark. So I did get a sleeping bag liner, so I am like very good in terms of clothing layers. I have a second hat now too. Yeah, I'm gonna have a ton of like clothes, like complete dry clothes in case I get wet. I have tons of socks. Like, yeah, I'm not worried about getting cold anymore. It's just yeah, that combination of cold and wet always makes it sketchy, but I'm excited to go through the Smokies with a big group. This is the biggest group of people I've hiked with southbound the entire trip. So there could potentially be around 10 people traveling together southbound through the Smokies. So some names, let's see, Enigma, Last Minute, Goosehawk, Braveheart, Maisie, who's the other? Nachio, Sunset, and then there's two others I forget. But yeah, good group of SOBOs all going through the Smokies together. I'll put a bunch more pics of the hostel at the end of the video, but I am going to start wrapping things up for the night and doing the last of my chores. So I'll sign off now. Take care, have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow in the Smokies.